We're joined now by Mara Kronenfeld. She is the executive director for UNRWA USA, the nonprofit that supports the work of the United Nations Relief and Works Agency for Palestine refugees in the Middle East. Your work, by the way, at the nonprofit has drastically increased as UNRWA's funding has diminished significantly. So just put the situation in Gaza into context for us. How bad is it right now?
Thank you, Brianna, and thank you for shedding additional light on what is essentially a catastrophic, indescribable situation on the ground in Gaza. We have received, just in the last couple of days, the employees at UNRWA USA, email upon email of people begging, pleading for help at this moment. They're sending us photos of their own children, skin on bones. They're telling us that their neighbors are fainting in the streets, that they can't even try to walk the kilometers to these so-called aid centers because they fear they will either die on the way or be shot, and they're having to make that choice. Do I risk death, or do I try to find some food to feed my children? Aid workers don't even have the food to keep them with the energy they need to continue to serve the population.
How are the workers of your nonprofit doing physically and also mentally?
Yeah, so our nonprofit's only about 10 people here in the US. We're watching day in and day out for 21 months. Of course, we're experiencing PTSD, but it's nothing compared to those of our colleagues who work with the UN agency on the ground. There's 12,000 of them to this day, again, risking their own lives, not able to find food themselves. We have 2 million people, including 1 million children right now, facing the risk of starvation. Our UNRWA colleagues are telling us that 1 in 5 children that they see in Gaza City are facing malnutrition. This is a crossroads, a new and terrible crossroads, and there's going to be a before and after. And it's time that people really wake up and see what is going on and demand that aid gets in, enough aid to feed 2 million people.
I hear the emotion in your voice. I can see it as you're sitting here next to me. Help us understand how you see what's happening, because there's 2 narratives, right? Israel's blaming international organizations for failing to distribute aid that's entered Gaza. A spokesperson for the UN Secretary General responded saying Israeli authorities are preventing UN staff from reaching that aid. We've seen a blockade since the spring. Israel says there is no famine caused by them. An Israeli government spokesperson said there is, however, a man-made shortage engineered by Hamas. How, just explain the drivers that you're seeing.
This is just, it's really difficult to hear these words because, frankly, they're disingenuous at best and dark and cynical at worst. When UNRWA was in Gaza feeding people during the ceasefire, they were able to feed the entire population. UNRWA has 6,000, the equivalent of 6,000 trucks of aid, emergency aid and medicine sitting just outside the border. Let that aid in. What the so-called Gaza Humanitarian Foundation is distributing is a drop in the bucket. And UNRWA, it should be noted, along with UN partners, have had 75 years of the largest food operation on this planet. They know how to distribute food to those in need, and they know how to do it with transparency, integrity, and with the dignity of those who are receiving that aid.
There have been a lot of problems with aid getting safely to Palestinians since the U.S. And Israeli-backed Gaza Humanitarian Foundation started largely taking over aid distribution. This is an organization, though, that was supposed to address these concerns by Israel that Hamas is stealing aid in Gaza, profiting off of its sale. How do you stop that from happening?
Again, these claims are disingenuous at best. The best way to make sure that food aid is not, that the value of the food aid is not so high that people want to hoard it, is to flood the market. Flooding the market means putting as much aid in the hands of starving people right now. When you restrict the amount of aid, that increases the price of it, increases its value, and increases the possibility that people might hoard it. The difference right now is that Gaza Humanitarian Foundation is giving this aid out of 4 sites in the south of Gaza, and making populations of elderly, young, old, disabled walk kilometers to that aid, and we've seen resulting in 1,000 deaths at least, and injuries, whereas UNRWA and its UN partners had 400 sites where they gave the aid directly to those in need, where they're at, and again, with transparency and dignity. We are seeing the utter opposite of that right now, unfortunately.
Mara Kronenfeld, thank you so much for being with us. We really appreciate it.
Thank you, Brianna.